So we continue reading Bhagavad Gita, introduction.
People with less intelligence consider the supreme truth to be impersonal, but he is a transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all Vedic literatures. Nicho Nichanam Satanas Satananam. As we are all individual living beings and have our individuality, the supreme absolute truth is also in the ultimate issue, a person, and realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features in his complete form. The complete whole is not formless. If he is formless, or if he is less than any other living, then he cannot be the complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience, otherwise it cannot be complete.
Yeah, so this is very important information. The complete whole cannot be formless. And we have the form, everything has the form.
Mhm.
Therefore, since we're parts and parcels of the complete whole, it means that the complete whole is also has the form. And another thing which is important here, since we're part and parcel of the complete whole, we're also complete by ourselves. But we are complete in ourselves as individual parts and parcels of the complete whole. So this is our nature. Everyone, each individual is complete. Okay. Each individual is self-sufficient as soon as they recognize themselves as part and parcel of the complete whole. When that recognition is lost, it's called illusion. We start thinking again of ourselves that we are something else rather than complete whole, rather than self-sufficient. And because of this, we experience different reality, basically, which is insufficient and incomplete in itself. Okay. And if you have any questions, please ask. All right. Now that we have interaction. Okay, next paragraph.
The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies. Parasya Saktir Vividavya Surya. How Krishna is acting in different potencies is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. This phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself because the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation. According to the Sankhya philosophy, are completely adjusted to produce complete resources which are necessary for the maintenance and substance substance of this universe.
So all this material world is also complete uh, in itself because again, it is the energy of the Lord. Everything that comes from the Lord is complete. And this material world it's also his part and parcel because it consists of 24 elements. And again, although it's a temporary manifestation, still it is complete. Mhm. Okay, let's continue.
There is nothing extraneous, nor is there anything needed. The manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the supreme whole. And when it's time to complete these temporary
Money
manifestations will be
annihilated
and by the complete arrangement
of the complete. Yeah. So all of the activities of the Lord are complete in themselves. Okay. And even the annihilation of this world is also a complete process. Okay. So basically, he is the supreme personality. He is perfect. He is cause of all causes, right? And everything he does is also perfect and complete. Okay. All right. Let's continue.
there is complete
Facility.
facility for the small complete units, namely the living entities, to realize the complete, and all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete.
Oh, this is very, very deep information here. We experience the incompleteness because of our incomplete knowledge. Okay, whatever we think which is incomplete, it's just because our limited, which means incomplete knowledge. Okay, because everything in this world, again, comes from the complete whole and also complete in itself. Okay, let's continue.
So Bhagavad Gita contains the complete knowledge of Vedic wisdom.
Yes, and Bhagavad Gita is the sound incarnation of the Lord, that's Krishna himself. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is complete in itself and contains the complete knowledge of Vedic wisdom. And Krishna also says, I'm the knower of all of the Vedas. All right, okay, next paragraph.
All Vedic knowledge is infallible, and Hindus accept Vedic knowledge to be complete and infallible. For example, cow dung is the stool of an animal, and according to Smriti or Vedic injunction, if one touches the stool of an animal, he has to take a bath to purify himself. But in the Vedic scriptures, cow dung is considered to be a purifying agent. One might consider this to be contradictory, but it is accepted because it is Vedic injunction, and indeed by accepting this, one will not commit a mistake. Subsequently, it has been proved by modern science that cow dung contains all antiseptic properties. So Vedic knowledge is complete because it is above all doubts and mistakes, and Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge.
Yes, so Vedic knowledge is complete. Again, there are no doubts and mistakes because it comes from the perfect Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, our senses are, I would say, imperfect, as it is said in Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, and therefore we may commit mistakes because we don't see the reality as it is, but we perceive the reality as actually we are through our feelings, through our vision and paradigms. But Supreme Personality of God, He is perfect and He's complete, and therefore, again, that knowledge, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, is perfect and complete without any mistakes and doubts.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's continue.
Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses.
So how do you understand that we are researching things with our imperfect senses? So Vedic knowledge is not a question of a research. What is your understanding of this? Why can't we research the Vedic knowledge?
Because like we don't have like access to like the Supreme Lord. So like I guess it's all passed down through the scriptures. So like
Hmm.
I don't know. Right.
Okay, any other ideas? So why don't we have access? How would you explain that?
Because we don't have like a direct form of communication with Krishna, like in the sense like that he's communicating back to us in the literal sense. So I feel like we are only like where the knowledge is like passed down through the
Yeah,
Vedic.
so the knowledge is passed down, and basically you're saying that we cannot communicate to Krishna directly, so therefore we cannot research it, right?
Mhm.
Yes. So does it mean, are you saying that we have some limitations?
Mhm.
Yes? Yes. So the answer here is that we cannot research transcendental things, spiritual things through material means.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So this is, and therefore it is said here that our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with our imperfect senses. So if we have Krishna consciousness, right, we are in touch with Krishna and there is nothing to research because this is the reality. Krishna is the reality, right? But unless our senses are imperfect, which means under the influence of the modes of material nature, we cannot research it because we will be researching the modes of material nature, actually. Okay? Yeah, and our reactions to it. All right, let's continue.
We have to accept perfect knowledge which comes down, as is stated in Bhagavad Gita, by the parampara discipline succession.
So what is parampara? Parampara is a disciplic succession. What is disciplic succession?
Um,
It's a line of teachers. right? Through whom the knowledge was passed down to us.
Mhm.
And that succession starts with Krishna himself.
Okay.
So Krishna is the first teacher, and he passes down this knowledge through the line of disciplic succession. And you can find it also in Bhagavad Gita. And we are the ones who receive it. So basically, once the person gets initiated in Krishna consciousness as a Vaishnava, they also join the parampara.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let's continue.
We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in this disciplic succession, beginning with the supreme spiritual master, the Lord himself, and handed down to a succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from Lord Sri Krishna, accepts everything that he says without contradicting him.
Without contrast. So this is an example of a perfect student. He accepts the knowledge of the Lord without any contradictions. Okay.
One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad Gita and not another. No, we must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter.
So what happens if we start interpreting Bhagavad Gita in our own words? What do you think is going to happen?
I think we might be like altering or changing the like what the Bhagavad Gita is actually saying.
Exactly. And how would you explain that tendency to alter things? Why would we alter it?
To like fit it better with your own life, like to align it better. Like, I don't know, to align it better with your personal, I don't know, like your own life to make it like fit.
Exactly. Yes, because we will be understanding it based on our own experience. And our experience is subjective.
Yeah.
It's not what Krishna is telling. So basically, we will be explaining it through our own eyes, through our own world and experience.
Yeah.
And that interpretation won't be true. And therefore, it is called here our own whimsical participation in the matter. Okay, so we need to accept Bhagavad Gita as it is so that we can understand it as it is. All right, and once again our senses are purified through the practice, through the devotional practice, we will be able to see this knowledge as it is and understand the reality again as it is. Okay. Let's continue.
The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first words were spoken by the Lord himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called
Apaurushaya.
aparshaya, meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of the mundane world who is infected with 4 defects.
Yes, so people, they have 4 defects, okay, and we're going to read about them. So what are the defects that people have, a mundane person has? Number 1,
Is sure to commit mistakes. Number
yes,
2 is invariably illusions.
illusioned.
Number 3 has a tendency to cheat others, and number 4 is limited by imperfect senses.
Exactly. So we are subject to 4 defects. We are committing mistakes, we are illusioned, we have tendency to cheat others, and we're limited by imperfect senses. So now the question, why is it all coming? It's all, how to say, connected. One is connected with another. For example, committing mistakes causes what? Illusion. Okay, and once we're illusioned, even if we don't know, we will have the tendency to cheat because we're going to believe in something which is not true. Okay, so we cheat ourselves first, then we can cheat others. And again, why? Because we are illusioned, right? And once that happened, basically, and why is it happening? Because we are limited by our imperfect senses. And there are many examples. What would be the examples that you can give to summarize this?
I would say, well, commit mistakes. I feel like we always make mistakes. Like I feel like
Yeah.
yeah. And then illusioned, I feel like sometimes like you might be like caught up in like the material nature that you don't realize. Like
Mm-hmm.
you get illusioned by like convincing things in the world. And then the tendency to cheat others is maybe you're trying to like think you're bettering yourself by like cheating others. And then
Mm-hmm.
limited by imperfect senses is that maybe like you're not able to think um like properly or like like have emotional sense like in the correct way.
Exactly. Yes. Any other ideas? Any other opinions? What do you think? Do you have any examples where we would commit mistakes and why we would commit mistakes, how we illusioned, and how we have the tendency to cheat others? There's a very good example with a broken telephone. You probably know this game, right?
Mhm.
When the first person is saying something, and then once it reaches the last one in the
Yeah.
game, the message is already
Yeah. Oh,
different. It
yeah.
changes.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that explains actually very well how our imperfect senses are working.
Mhm.
Okay, how we can alter the information. We believe that this is true, and that's why we pass it down in the way that we believe it is true.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So basically, therefore, we need to have the scriptures. We need to have sadhu. We need to have a spiritual master whose senses are pure because his senses are not on this level, not on the material level. It is in Brahman. Okay. And we have the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we need to basically verify ourselves with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual teacher, to make sure that we are not under the effect of this four defects. Okay. All right. Let's continue.
With these four imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all pervading knowledge.
Yes. Therefore, if we are illusioned, if we commit mistakes and we have imperfect senses, we cannot deliver perfect information.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Mhm.
Uh,
Let's let's continue.
Vedic knowledge is not imparted by such defective living entities. It was imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples as he originally received it from the Lord. The
So
Lord
this explains actually why Vedic knowledge is perfect because it was passed down by the perfect being, okay,
Mhm.
by the Lord Himself. And therefore, that knowledge is perfect. It was imparted into the heart of Brahma.
Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
The Lord is Purnam, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his becoming subjected to the laws of material nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is the only prop proprietor,
Writer. Mhm.
proprietor of everything in the universe, and that he is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter of the Lord is addressed as Pamitamaha because Brahma is addressed as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and he is the creator of the grandfather. So no one should claim to be the proprietor of anything. One should accept only things set aside for him by the Lord in his quota for his maintenance.
Yes. So one should not what so no one should claim to be the proprietor of anything, right? How do you understand this? It's also very important.
Um,
So what are the things that we have?
uh, like like that you own anything, or
Yes,
that everything belongs to you.
exactly. So everything that we have belongs to the Lord. Everything actually, because we live in His world,
Yeah.
right? What happens if we claim that it belongs to us? What happens?
We
Like
become
by material law, of course, it is given to us,
yeah.
right? If the Lord given it to us and we're using it, we are serving through this.
Mhm.
But in our heart, if we don't understand that it belongs to the Lord, what happens?
I guess you've become like ungrateful in a sense and maybe lose more of your connection to Krishna. Because if you're like realizing that Krishna is the one that's giving you all of this, you might like have a greater appreciation.
And if you have a greater appreciation, what becomes possible? Like if you appreciate what Krishna given to you, what becomes possible for you as an individual, as a soul?
A deeper connection to
A
Krishna.
deeper connection. Okay. What happens if there is no such a gratitude?
I feel like you would just become a little bit like maybe greedy and like just,
Greedy.
yeah.
Yeah. So greedy. Let's say, what is greedy, right? We keep the focus on the things that we want to have, and all of the focus is on that thing.
Yeah.
So what happens if all of the attention goes onto something aside, like outside of you, external?
Then
How
you,
does it affect consciousness? How does it affect mood, relationship, health? Just imagine all of the attention is somewhere outside,
Mhm.
on the car, on the money, on something else.
I feel like you wouldn't be taking care of yourself, and then you would like lose your connection with like you with Krishna, but then also your like mental health could be suffering as well too.
Exactly. So first of all, we're going to lose connection with ourselves,
Mhm.
right? Yes, because focusing on the external is much easier than focusing on the internal, although it's us, right? And our consciousness is like here and now,
Yeah.
but still it's easier to focus on the external because that's how we are trained and that's how we are actually, the whole world is functioning like this, right? On the external things. So yes, if we don't admit that everything belongs to the Lord,
Mhm.
what happens? Our mental health suffers. We lose ourselves. We lose
Mhm.
connection with ourselves. And then
Yeah,
once we lose the connection with ourselves, what happens?
we lose the connection with Krishna too.
We lose the connection with Krishna. And can we connect with others in a healthy way?
No.
Exactly. Yeah. So the relationship become destructive. Yeah. Unhealthy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Therefore, one should accept only things set aside for him by the Lord as his quota. So this is what is quota. Quota is what is given for this life. The amount of money, the number of breaths, like how many times we're going to breathe, how many words we're going to say, okay, how many kids we're going to have. Everything is given to us already from the beginning until the end of our life. Okay. And if we accept those things that are set aside by the Lord, for our maintenance,
Mhm.
then what happens? Like if we just accept it.
I feel like you'd be happier.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to be happy and we're going to be satisfied. What happens if we try to take more?
Um, I feel like you're never going to be fully satisfied because you're always going to be wanting more and more and more.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to have some, again, mental health issues, right? Because we want more, but it's not satisfied for us.
Mhm.
And then frustration is going to come and misunderstanding, and we may feel and think something which is not true about ourselves.
Yeah.
So this is not good for our health. Same for our relationships. Okay. Now, what if we take less than is satisfied for us?
Mm, I feel like we might not be um like I don't know, like maybe like it might affect your well-being as a whole if you're like like if you're neglecting yourself in a sense.
Yes. Any examples of this neglect? What could that be if you're
Like
not taking? Mhm.
like for example, if you're not like taking care of yourself, if you're not eating properly or you're not like doing things for your like mental health, like then you're gonna like, get tired and get like it might become mentally draining for yourself.
Yes. Or, for example, not using your talents to the
Yeah.
full potential, right? You have the talents given by the Lord that's set aside as quota, but the person is not following,
Yeah.
right? Not doing anything with it. Yes. And same as like number of years. And you, like, you made a very good point of in terms of taking care of yourself. We take care of ourselves. First of all, we're going to leave the amount of the number of years that is set aside for us. What
Yeah.
happens if we don't take care of ourselves?
Then you're probably gonna live a shorter.
Exactly. So we can shorten it by our will, okay? But by the mercy of the Lord can be extended the lifetime. Yeah, so this is also important to understand. So everything is given to us. There is a quota which is set aside for us, and if we accept it as it is and use it for the service of the Lord, we're going to be happy and satisfied.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's continue.
There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, Arjuna decided that he should not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra.
This was his own decision. Arjuna was told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman. This decision was based on the body because he was thinking that the body was himself and that his bodily relations or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brothers-in-law, grandfathers, and so on.
So let's see. Yes, that the decision which was made by Arjuna here, he decided not to fight in the battlefield because he's thinking that he won't be able to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman, right? So the difference, what is the difference do you see here between devotional thinking and material thinking? How would you describe that? Why is it called that he is that his thinking is based on the body?
Because that I would say that's the material nature because he has the connections with the body, like the physical person. And then I feel like the devotional aspect it would be realizing that like they're the soul, not the body. So that
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
to
so
separate those two things.
yeah, so this is one point. It's a very good point that he is not seeing the souls in them, right? That he's looking at them as bodies, physical bodies, and that he doesn't want to kill them. Any other ideas? Why do you think his decision not to fight is considered as material based on the body? So it is said here that he was thinking, right, that it won't be possible for him to enjoy the kingdom.
Mhm.
What is the difference between devotee and non-devotee? The devotee,
It's for like they're doing it for Krishna's enjoyment and
mhm,
Krishna's like happiness instead of like for he said he won't be able to enjoy the kingdom, but devotional service is you're doing it for Krishna. You're not doing it like for yourself in a sense.
exactly. Yes. So non-devotees, they're doing it for the satisfying their own senses, right? For their own sense satisfaction. While devotees, they understand if Krishna is satisfied, I'm satisfied. Because my senses are not my senses. It's Krishna's senses given to me. If they're pure, if they are in Krishna consciousness, then they will be happy. Therefore, devotees, they are focused on satisfying Krishna's senses, not their own, and therefore they are unconditionally happy. Let's make an example from our life. Where did you see similar situations where the person probably would act in a similar way, maybe at work or in their relationships?
I can't think of anything on the top of my head. Do you have any?
Mhm.
Mm,
Related to responsibilities, for example, let's take a teacher who is
mhm.
teaching a class, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not pleasurable to teach the class. So if teacher thinks, oh, I won't enjoy teaching this class because the students are so small and
Mhm.
they're so loud, I'll better go and I don't know, sit in the library.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the teacher is trying to satisfy her own senses, right? Or let's say, any other example, I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning so early,
Mhm.
right? Because I don't think I will enjoy the rest of the day, although I have to go to work. All right. So basically, this situation is very frequent when people might prefer, right, to follow sense satisfaction
Mhm.
instead of acting, how to say, we're talking about material things, right? Instead of, for example, fulfilling their responsibilities, because it's not always that our responsibility is so pleasurable, like doing homework, cleaning the house, putting things together, right? Or saying sorry after the breakup in the relationships, like things that are not pleasurable. We may think, oh, I don't want to do this because I'm not enjoying it.
Mhm.
But if we look in the long run, if we continue doing the same thing, what's going to happen with work, with relationship, with studies? If we continue focusing on our senses, what's going to happen with all areas of our life?
Then I feel like you're gonna lose, like for example, if, like the teacher example, if she's not like doing her job, she's gonna get fired, so she's gonna lose that aspect of her life. And then if you're not gonna go to work, like the same things, like you'll just like you'll lose um different parts of your life.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to lose our valuable things such as work, relationship, right? Like if the person is constantly late, for example, because he wants to sleep in the morning and doesn't care
Yeah.
what's going to happen, or if it's a parent who's always trying to escape his responsibilities, right? Or if it's a husband
Mhm.
who doesn't want to keep his promises because it's not convenient or comfortable. There are many cases like this, right? So if we focus on our senses only and look, do not focus on how it is beneficial on the service, because by serving people, right, we're already serving the society,
Yeah.
but we can upgrade it if we're serving people with the mind, like by keeping at the same time thinking about the Lord and connecting that activity to the Lord. We are doing transcendental service because we are doing it already for the same activity for the satisfaction of the Lord.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, this is a very important aspect. Let's continue. So therefore, yeah, just to summarize, the decision which was made by Arjuna is material because he's trying to satisfy his own senses and not the senses of the Lord. He's not, in this case, acting um, for the first of all for the happiness of the Lord, and secondly, he doesn't see, as you said, the soul, right, and his relatives. So
Yeah.
let's continue. Mhm.
Therefore, he wanted to satisfy his bodily demands. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view. And at the end, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Kairos,
Karishye
Kairos,
vachanam tava.
Vachanam Tava, I shall act according to your word.
Yes. Okay. So this is the conclusion, right? That Arjuna is making at the end. He decides to take the direction of the Lord, okay, and he agrees to become his devotee. So let's see the again the consequences if just imagine the whole society, nation, the world is not following that direction. Again, everyone is focusing only on their own needs, how to satisfy myself, what I want to do, not what is good for all for the family, for others,
Mhm.
and not what is making the Lord happy. What's gonna happen?
Like everything, all the structure would like fall apart.
Exactly, because all of the structure is actually based on the service.
Yeah.
The whole universe is based on the service. The sun, I don't know if the sun is asked, do you want to get up or no? It's always on time, it always gets up, right? And all of the trees, all of the nature is actually flourishing under the light of the sun. If there is no sun, like there won't be any life, right? There won't be oxygen. So it's very important. The whole universe is functioning on the service because that's the nature of the Lord. And he created everything in the way that everything is complete because it comes as a complete whole out of the complete being. Yeah. So if we are on the same platform, we are in a harmony with the
Oh.
universe, we are in a harmony with ourselves, and we are in connection with ourselves. And of course, automatically we become happy and satisfied.
Mhm.
To conclude that, because again, we are going to use whatever is set aside, right, as our quota for the service of the Lord. and which will give us mind purification and sense purification. The second thing, we will be happy and content within ourselves as complete wholes because we're going to act as parts and parcels of the Lord. But we're going to conclude with that. Do you have any questions or realizations from our class today? What are you taking with you?
I learned about the four defects. So mistakes, illusions, our tendency to cheat others, and then our imperfect senses.
How do you think this knowledge will help you in daily life?
I think it'll just help me realize like the nature of human beings and like how we kind of work and like how like that's why we need to like connect with like the Bhagavad Gita to understand our role in the material world.
Let's try an example. For example, somebody's saying something to you and you feel like negative emotion.
Yeah.
How would you apply that knowledge of the senses and mistake and illusion?
I would like connect it to like it's like our imperfect senses working.
Uh-huh. Are the senses imperfect on their side or on your side? How would you think?
Imperfect.
Whose senses are imperfect?
I would say all of our senses are imperfect.
All of the senses. What kind of imperfection would you see on the other side? Like, how would you explain that that was imperfect? So somebody said something to you and you felt pain.
Because like it might be imperfect because you never really know what like the other person meant. Like sometimes it could just be miscommunication or like you might or like might be a misinterpretation. So like your emotions might not be like fully understanding the actual situation or the actual context it was said in.
So if you know that we have a tendency to commit mistakes, right? What's going to happen? How this can change our reaction to something that might cause pain? What kind of thinking process may be helpful in that case?
I'm not sure.
So since we have the tendency to commit mistake, so the first of all, the person might be mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Then
maybe
if
illusion.
yeah, or maybe illusion, right? And because of this, he might use the information in the way that he's using it.
Yeah. So we
Okay.
might not be thinking straight. Like we might not be thinking the same way.
Exactly. We might not like what becomes possible here towards the person. Yeah. When we understand all these four aspects of any human being, including ourselves, that we may also accept it in the wrong way because we also we also have tendency to commit mistakes, right?
If you realize that, you might have like more compassion. Like you might understand that like what they're going through, like what they're experiencing, you've experienced it too. So you might realize that it's their emotions acting or that they're illusioned. And that might help you to like be more considerate in situations.
How can you purify the process knowing this? So we have the tendency, right, for defects, but Krishna wants us to be in pure mind. How will you help yourself and the person based on that knowledge to get on the next level? I would say pure level of communication or mutual understanding.
Well, I would say like to connect, like to make sure like you're chanting and you're praying and you're cleansing your mind so you're not like all the time and purified by material nature.
I'll give you a very practical process, right, of applying Bhagavad Gita in this case. Clarification. For example, if you ask a clarifying question, right? If you know that the person, for example, we have the tendency to commit mistakes, we have imperfect senses. We may hear the information not in the way that the person is giving it to us,
Yeah.
right? We may misinterpret it because
Yeah.
we have our own experience. So what's going to help here in order to not to be under the effect of those defects is, first of all, ask clarifying question.
Yeah.
Without this knowledge, that process of asking the clarifying question may not even come to our mind because it happens automatically. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. Oh, he doesn't like me. Oh, this is so painful. It happens automatically. And we believe that this is true, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we become illusion. That's how we cheat ourselves. And that's how we cheat others. Because based on that illusion, we start treating people in that way. We start thinking about them in that way, right? But while we have this knowledge, practically we can clarify, do you mean this when you say this?
Yeah.
And you will hear the reality. You will hear actually what the person is, like what the person is saying, what the person is trying to say, right?
Yeah.
It seemed to me like this. Is it true?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bhagavad Gita is very practical. The more we use it in practice, the happier our life becomes. And chanting, you said, very important thing. Chanting is needed for ourselves to purify ourselves. Because the purer we are, the more we use the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. It's not staying on the level of information, becomes our experience, and we use it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for your input. How about you? Are you taking anything with you today?
I learned that like we should only like accept the things that that is like set aside from us from the Lord.
Yes. And why is it important? How did you?
Because like wanting too much can like lead to like you being greedy and like it like has like negative outcomes, and like taking too less like can lead to like mental health and like not taking care of yourself.
Yes, and we know the situation where we are underestimated and like depreciated, and it starts with us, right? Because we're not using our resources to its full potential and for the benefit of the of all living entities, for the satisfaction of the Lord, which means that we're not applying everything that which is given for us. Yeah, so it's very important. Thank you so much. And we are finishing now. Thank you for your realizations, and I will be looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.